So I've been seeing a lot of misinformation surrounding the A-10 lately on Reddit and in the forums, as people argue on why the A-10 should or should not be in the game. It seems that anytime someone mentions or asks, when will the A-10 be in the game?
Emotional, damn it!
Alright everyone, this is Alpha Heavy Gamer and welcome back to the channel. I want to debunk some myths that have been circulating about the A-10, but before I begin I want you to smash that like button. So alright, enough waffling, let's get serious. Myth number 1. The A-10 was specifically designed as a tank buster. This is not true. Although incidentally the Maverick missiles and the 30mm gun with depleted rhenium shells as big as beer bottles are highly effective against tanks, the central design requirement was actually born out of the Vietnam War, where the US Air Force lost hundreds of aircraft to AAA and SAMs. The shocking aircraft losses were bad enough, but the loss of human treasure, the air crews, forced the US Air Force to revisit its strategy for frontline CAS. Losing expensive jets like the F-4 Phantom and the F-105 Thunderchief that were ill-suited for frontline CAS in the first place was not sustainable. Lessons learned from Vietnam proved that troops in close contact needed persistent and durable close air support, and that the US Air Force needed a survivable aircraft with a primary ground attack role. The 1966 Design Requirement Action Directive outlined simply that this new aircraft must be inexpensive, durable, have a payload of at least 16,000 pounds, and be able to take off in 4,000 feet or less, have a long loiter time, and excellent low-speed maneuverability, and also have extreme survivability. So the A-10 was born. Fairchild Republic met this requirement and designed a cheap and highly survivable ground attack aircraft to support the troops on the ground. There was nothing about tank busting here at all. Myth number 2. The A-10 can withstand multiple hits with no problem. This is not true, obviously. The A-10 has over 100 design specifications specifically for survivability. Here are just a few. The canopy and the windscreen are resistant to small arms fire. It has double redundant hydraulic systems. The A-10 has the ability to land safely with its gear up due to damage. And it has around 12,000 pounds of titanium armor around critical systems including the pilot. And any damage to the aircraft doesn't compromise the reinforced airframe because the skin is not structural. There are many documented cases of the A-10 taking heavy damage and successfully returning to base. However, A-10s have been shot down in combat. To date, approximately 7 A-10s have been lost in combat, and not all of those pilots survived the ordeal. So you see, the A-10 is not invulnerable to enemy fire. It's just highly survivable against it when compared to other aircraft. I mean, contrast the A-10 against an aircraft like the AV-8B Harrier II, which is a dedicated ground attack aircraft used by the US Marine Corps. Now the Harrier II is nowhere near as survivable as the A-10. Now the third myth is that the A-10 would get slaughtered in any war. This is obviously not true. The nature of war is immutable, but the character of war does change. The A-10 was designed in a fiscally permissive era, and the US Air Force had room for an aircraft that had a very niche role. Also, at the time where the requirements came out for the A-10, obviously integrated air defense systems were not as advanced as they are today. But the A-10 has been adapted over time, and it excels in low-intensity conflicts, especially the ones the US has been involved in over the years, because they are permissive environments, meaning there was no advanced integrated air defense system to contend with. The A-10 would not be able to operate as freely in a high-intensity, heavily contested, non-permissive environment with a peer adversary, nor would it be allowed to. Local air superiority at a minimum would need to be established for the A-10 to operate. The notion that it would just get slaughtered is not a real thing because it would not be operating in such a non-permissive environment in the first place. There are other aircraft much more suitable for a highly contested, non-permissive environment. So the fourth myth going around is that the A-10 is some kind of horrible plane and that it was a horrible design concept. So obviously this is not true. I don't know where this one comes from, but the A-10 does exactly what it was designed to do at a lower cost. It provides persistent and survivable close air support owing to its long loiter times and redundant systems. It was built for survival and rapid repair at forward operating locations. It has an all-weather aircraft capability. It can operate at any time of day. It carries an enormous variety of weapons, and although slow, it has a top speed of 439 miles per hour. And due to its large wing area and powerful turbofan engines, it's highly maneuverable. The A-10 has a stall speed of just 138 miles per hour, which allows it to catch faster opponents off guard. In short, over its long service life, the A-10 has done everything the US military has asked of it, at a lower cost in lives and in money. The A-10 is not an F-35, and it never will be. They just had different design requirements. But this doesn't make the A-10 a horrible plane. Alright, so the last one I'll cover here is that the A-10 is going to get slaughtered when it comes to Warthunder. Now I know there's a lot of people that think that, and that there's no place for the jet in the game. Perhaps. But that's Gaijin's problem to solve, and it's only a game mechanic away from a fix. People act like Gaijin can't just change the rules or something, or change some software or something. But as the game is now, you may be able to get a few kills with the AM9Ls that the A-10 can carry, but you will not be prevailing in air RB. This is a ground forces RB plane, but this is not a brand new issue. There are many planes in the game only suitable for ground force battles, and Gaijin really never let that stop them before. Getting slaughtered is too hyperbolic. It will have difficulty if it has to face top-tier fighters specializing in air-to-air combat, but we all know that because the plane wasn't designed for it, and Gaijin also knows that. I think they want to make money off of this thing. So I think a pragmatic approach to this is going to be essential. Make the changes needed for the plane to be fun and compelling, or just leave it out of the game. But that also means that we'd be missing out on planes like the Su-25 Frogfoot, or even one of my favorites, the Embraer 314 Super Tucano. Planes like that might be a risk if Gaijin can't make slow, close air support, frontline kind of planes work. Alright, and that's the video for today. But what do you think? Do you want to see the A-10 in the game? Do you want to see planes like the A-10 in the game, like the Su-25 Frogfoot, and maybe the Super Tucano I mentioned, and lots of other aircraft that are kind of low and slow but hang out on the front lines for close air support? I'd like to see those type of planes in the game, and I honestly think that Gaijin can make it work if they want it to work. But what do you think? Let me know, and I'll see you in a future video. Thanks for watching.